Okay, PolyOp test tomorrow. It says which expressions are factors of x squared plus 19x minus 150? Select two answers. So remember, our first step every single time is to identify our GCF. Because if our GCF is anything other than 1, we need to take it out. So we're going to use the calculator, type GCF, and I'm going to type my A, B, and C. So A is 1, B is 19, C is negative 150. So I have 1, comma, 19, comma, 150. And I get 1. So when it's 1, we're good to go. So step 2 is to find our A, B, and C, which we just did, and it didn't change because I did not need to take out a GCF. So knowing that, my A, I'm going to rewrite it right here, 119, negative 150. Don't forget to carry over negatives and positives. So I have to build my table. So remember, we do our A times C in the first spot, which is 1 times negative 150, and then B in the third column, which is 19. Okay, knowing that, remember, we're looking for what multiplies to give me negative 150 and adds to give me 19. So I need this number plus this number equal to B, which is 19. And I also need them to multiply to give me negative 150. So we can do the calculator trick. So remember, I'm going to type my A times C, which is negative 150, divide X, because that's going to help me find my factors, settings table. And then in our third column, we're looking for what the first column plus the second column to equal that third column. So X plus negative 150 divide X, because remember, we're adding column 1 plus column 2 equals this. So that's what we're doing. Top of this one plus top of this one equals is this. So I'm looking for B, which is 19, in this third column. So I'm just going to type 3, and I'm going to keep going. Well, there's negative 19, so let's keep going. There's going to be a positive 19, and there it is. So I have positive 25, negative 6. So positive 25, negative 6. And those are my two special boxes. So build our table, a box, sorry. The biggest thing to remember is first term, first box, last term, last box. And remember that diagonal is what they have to add to. So they have to add to 19x. Well, and don't forget to also put an x here and here. And your special numbers go in there also. So plus 25 minus 6. And now we have to GCF. Well, I can put a 1 here. Now both of these, I'm going up first. So x and x, 2 and 1, I could take 1x out. This has an x, this doesn't, so I cannot take it out. But it's minus, so this has to be minus. I'm only looking at letters and symbols right now. X and x, so this is an x. This is plus, so this has to be plus. Now I'm going to look at numbers. So back up to my GCF. In my first column, I have a 1 and a 25. So 1 comma 25 is just 1. The next column I have 6 comma 150. And I have 6. And then I have 1 and 6, which gives me 1. And then I have 25 comma 150, negative 150 or 150 either way, and it's 25. So my factors are what's on top. I do not have to put the 1, so I have x minus 6, x plus 25. So this is the work that you have to show here. And knowing that, look, I have an x plus 6 and an x plus 25, so there's my answer. Order doesn't matter, so if you have them flip-flopped, it's still correct. Oop, might help if you can see what I wrote. Okay, so there is number 1. Okay, so let's look at number 2. Number 2 is super similar. So again, first things first, we have to check for a GCF. So my A, B, and C here is 6, 5, 6, 6, comma 5, comma 6, and I get 1. So it's 1, therefore we're good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and identify my A, B, C. A is positive 6, B is positive 5, C is negative 6. I'm going to build my table. A times C in my first column, first two columns, B in my third column. So A times C is negative 36, B is 5, so we're looking what adds to 5 but multiplies to negative 36. So I'm going to use my calculator. I don't even have to delete anything. I'm just going to change this to negative 36. My negative's already there. And I have to change this one also. 36. Okay, and now I'm looking for positive 5, which is right here. So I got to look at my column. There we go. Here it is. So it's 9 and negative 4. And you can always check if you're not sure, if you typed it right in your calculator, your table. So if we do 9 times negative 4, we get negative 36. Remember, it has to multiply to that. And if I do 9 less negative 4, I get 5. So it works. Okay, so knowing that, we build our box. First term, first box. Last term, last box. And my diagonal is my B term, which is 5x. So remember, we have to have an x here and here. Okay, so knowing that, these are my special numbers. So positive 9, negative 4, and then we GCF. So here both have an x. These do not, but this is minus, so this has to be minus. They both have an x. This is positive, so this is positive, and they don't both have an x. And now I'm going to look at numbers. So I have 6, 9, which is 3. And then I have 4, 6, which is 2. And I have 6, 4, which, if you notice, I already have 6 and 4. So it's also 2. Then 9 and 6, which I already did also, is just 3. So knowing that, there's my two factors. So I have 3x minus 2, 2x plus 3. Okay, so 3x minus 2 is here. 2x plus 3 is here. It's okay that they're in the same column. And my answer . Okay. Okay, so let's look at number 3. Number 3 says, which expression is a factor of 3n squared minus 15n plus 18? Well, again, first steps first, we have to check for a GCF. So I have 3, 15, 18. And I get 3. Okay, so my GCF is 3, and I have to divide it out. Remember, we're only good to go when it's 1. So I'm left with n squared minus 5n plus 6. And we're gonna put our 3 down at the bottom so we don't forget it because it is part of our answer. And we're gonna ignore the first trinomial. We're only looking at this one now. So now I'm gonna identify my new a, b, and c. A is 1, b is negative 5, c is 6. A times c is 6, b is negative 5. Remember, we want what adds to negative 5 and multiplies to give me 6. So using my calculator, x, what am I doing? Divide x. So erase the negative. Okay, so there's my new. So knowing that, I'm looking for negative 5, and then look, it's right there at the top. So it's negative 2, negative 3. Build my box. First term, my new first term, first box, my new last term, last box, and my new b term. Now ends, if you use x's on your test, that's fine. Okay, so knowing that, my special boxes are negative 2, negative 3. So here they have an n in common, here they do not, but it's minus. Here they have an n in common, here they do not, but it's minus. And then GCF, so 1 to 2 is 1, and we can use our calculator. 3, 6, is 3. 1 to 3 is 1. 2 to 6 is 2. So my answer is 3, parentheses n minus 3, n minus 2. And now I go back and read my question. It says, which expression is a factor? So 3 is a factor, and I don't see that. N minus 3 is a factor. I see n plus 3, which is not my answer. And I have n minus 2. So D is my answer. Okay, let's look at number 4. Now, the biggest mistake here is forgetting to actually divide. Y'all factor the top and then you forget what to do next. So it says, which is the quotient? Y'all, that just means divide. Your answer when you divide of this expression. So first things first, realize we need to factor the top and the bottom. I'm going to start with the bottom because it's smaller. There is no GCF if I type 2, 5. 2, 5. It's not a perfect square minus perfect square, so we're done. The bottom does not change. Now remember, the plus and minus signs make them stuck like glue, so I'm going to put it in parentheses so we don't forget. Now the top has a trinomial, so we're going to look at if we have to do our A, B, and C, we're going to start with GCF. So if I start with GCF, I have 6, 17, 5. And my GCF is 1, so we're good to go. Let's find our A, B, C. A is 6, B is 17, C is 5. Build my table. A times C here, which is 30. B is 17. So I'm looking for what adds to give me 17 and multiplies to give me 30. So I'm going to type 30. And I get this. And I'm looking for B is 17, which is right here. So it's 2 and 15. So I'm going to build my box. First term, first box. Last term, last box. And the middle two diagonals should add to 17x, which is what we said. So we have positive 2, don't forget your x. Positive 15, don't forget your x. And we GCF it. So x will always be here, not here. This is positive, so this is positive. X, positive. Okay, so now I'm going to GCF. So we have 6, 15, which is 3. I went the diagonal ways first, sorry. Okay, so let's do 6 and 2, which is 2. Okay, 15 and 5. Well, 5 goes into 15, so it's 5. Or you could use the calculator. 2 does not go into 5, so let's check that one. 2, 5, and we get 1. So there's my answer to the top, but it's not my answer to the question. I'm not done. This equals these two factors, so I have to rewrite the top with my factors. So I have 2x plus 5 and 3x plus 1. And now we divide. Well, remember, the plus and minus make these pieces all stuck like glue. This is stuck, this is stuck, this is stuck. But if a whole parentheses matches another, we can cancel. So those cancel, and my answer is 3x plus 1. So 3x plus 1. Okay, so let's flip and look at number 5. Okay, 5 is another show work problem. So it says the expression b squared minus 14b minus 72 can be written in factored form like this, where k represents a number. What is the value of k? So we're going to ignore pretty much everything after, and we're going to factor it. We want to know what's the factors, so let's factor it. So a is 1, b is 14, c is 72. So if we type that in, 1, 14, 72, its GCF is 1, so we're good to go. So find a, b, c. So a is 1, b is negative 14, c is negative 72. A times c over the first two columns, b over the third column, and remember we're looking for what adds to give me negative 14 and multiplies to give me negative 72. So I'm going to change this to negative 72, negative 72, and I have these, so I'm looking for negative 14, which is right here, so it's 4 and negative 18. Build my box. First term, first box. Last term, last box. and my special numbers. So positive 4b minus 18b. So first off, I know that the only things that can multiply to give me b squared are b and b. B's have b's, b's have b's. Here, I'm not good at GCFs when it's big numbers, so I'm definitely going to use my calculator, 18 comma 72. And it is 18. Don't forget this is negative, so this is going to be a negative. 4 comma 72 is 4, so this is positive, this is positive. So my answer is b plus 4, b minus 18. Well, this has the b plus 4. And my second factor is b minus 18. Well, this says b plus, and that's fine, but whatever I have here is what's my answer, so it's negative 18. Because it says plus, I have to make sure I put that negative. Okay, let's look at number 6. 6 says find the GCF, so we're going to start with just the numbers. So we're just looking for GCF. So I'm going to do 2 comma 11. And it tells me 1. Well, this is 11, so that's not it. This is 11, so that's not it. That's 2, so that's not it. So if I put a 1 there, that's fine. It doesn't change anything. And now I want you to double check, make sure it's right. So if I have 5 m's here and 2 m's here, I can take 2 from both to be fair. 3 n's, 4 n's, so I can take 3 to be fair. So D is my answer. Okay, let's look at number 7. 7 says which expression is equivalent to 24x squared minus 6x? Well, always start with a GCF. Okay, so again, I have 24 comma 6, which is 6, and then we have to check letters. So this has an x, this has an x, this has 2, this has 1, so I can take 1x out. So I know that's not my answer. So I'm going to divide by 6x, divide by 6x to see what I have left. 24 divided by 6. If we struggle with the math, let's do it in the calculator. 24, oh, not 25. 24 divided 6 gives me 4. 2 minus 1, because we subtract, is x to the first power, or just x. Now minus 6 divided by 6 is 1, and the x's cancel or give me 1, so there's my answer, which is C. Okay, so let's look at 8. 8 says, which of the following goodness gracious, which of the following factoring boxes shows this set up correctly? So first term, first box, they all have it. Last term, last box. Well, these are both positive. I have a negative, so these are wrong. This has negative, this has negative, so we're good. And then remember, our diagonal is supposed to add to 7x. So negative 9 plus 2 is negative 7, so that does not match. 9 plus negative 2 is 7x, so we're good. So my answer is D. Okay, you could have also found your A, B, and C in billiard table. Okay, let's look at number 9. It says which expression is equivalent to, and we're here. So this one we will have to factor. So here's my factor. I want you to realize A is 1. None of them have a GCF. So my GCF here is 1. They don't all have an x, so I can't take an x out. And I'm going to find my A, B, and C. A is 1, B is 5, C is negative 24. A times C here, B here, so A times C is negative 24, B is 5. Remember, we're looking for what adds to give me 5, but multiplies to give me negative 24. So I'm going to use my calculator and see what we get. And I'm looking for positive 5, which is here. So it's 8 and negative 3. Build my box. First term, first box. Last term, last box. And my special numbers. Positive 8, don't forget the x. Negative 3, don't forget the x. X, x, negative, positive. Okay, 1 and 8 is 1. 3 and 24 is 3. 1 and 3 is 1. 8 and 24 is 8. Again, we could use the GCF buttons, sorry y'all, and figure that out. So my answer is x minus 3, x plus 8. So x minus 3, x plus 8 is B. Okay, let's look at number 10. Number 10 says which expression is equivalent? First things first, check for GCF. So I have 16, 81. And it's 1, so there is no GCF. So I want you to remember, we're finding A, B, and C like this. So I have A, but I don't have a B. There's no X term, so it's 0. There's none there. And C is negative 81. Now remember, when B is 0, these are going to match. So plus equals 0. A times C is going to be a big old number. So let's see. 16 times negative 81. Whoa. So it's negative 1296. Don't let that scare you because our calculator is going to do it for us. Negative 1296. Okay, and we're looking for 0. So again, I don't see it yet, so that's fine. We're just going to keep going. Oh, did I pass it? Because I'm getting further. No, I'm getting closer. I don't know. Did I multiply correctly? 16 times 81, 1296. Oh, that's what's wrong. I was like, what is happening? There we go. Found my mistake. We're looking for 0, and I found it. So it's 36, negative 36. See, I knew I made a mistake. Just had to find it. First term, first box. Last term, last box. These should add to 0. So positive 36x, negative 36x. They do. And then we GCF. So 16, 36, which is 4. So this is 4. Don't forget they both have an x. These both have an x. 1636 is also 4. Now 36, this is minus, this one's plus, and 3681 is going to be 9. 3681. So my answer is 4x minus 9, 4x plus 9. Okay, now remember, we can check our calculator with these by typing what was given to us in our answer choice. So let's look at number 11. Okay, so number 11, sorry, I had to make sure somebody could cover my class, is here. It says which expression shows this one, so factor completely. So we're going to check for a GCF first every single time, and it's 48, 75. I'm going to show you the other method for these when B is 0. So 3, so we're going to take out the 3. Now first off 2, I know I can cancel this one, and that's it. Sorry, I thought that was a 4. Okay, so I'm going to divide 48, divide 3, gives me 16. Okay, and don't forget 3 is part of my answer. And then 75 divided by 3 is 25. Oop. Now, this is a perfect square minus a perfect square. Hopefully we notice that. So I'm going to see what multiplies to give me both of these numbers at the same. That's exactly the same. Well, I know x and x is x squared, but what times what is 16? So remember, I showed you that you could check with the check mark. Check with the check mark. 16 is 4. So this is going to be 4x times 4x gives me 16x squared. And then check with the check mark for 25 is 5. So 5 and 5. So remember, this is the difference of two squares where one is plus, one is minus. Our formula so we have 4x plus 5, 4x minus 5. So my answer is B. So those are the two different methods to do those problems. Okay, sorry about that. Number 12. Okay, so it says which expression is equivalent. Now I want you to realize your answer choices were wrong. Mine are correct, but I told y'all, at least in my class, to mark them off, so not a big deal. We're gonna start, we have to find our GCF because I see, first off, all my answer choices have a GCF, so I know I have a GCF. So we're gonna come here, we're gonna type our three numbers. So we have 16, comma, 12, comma, 24. And I see I have a GCF number of 4, but I also see there's lots of letters. So I'm going to make sure I don't have anything in common. So I have A, B. Here I have B squared, which is B twice. And here I just have B. So what do they all have in common is 1B. So I could take out 4B. Well, knowing that, I know A and B are wrong. So I'm going to divide out 4B, 4B, 4B. So 4B. And I get 16 divided by 4 is 4. The b's cancel, so it's just a, which both of them have, so we can't cross anything off. Negative 12 divided by 4 is 3b squared, so 2 minus 1 is, so I have b1 or b. So 3b, so right away I see c is my answer. Let's keep going to double check. B's cancel. Negative 24 divided by 4 is negative 6, so b or c is my answer. Okay, so let's look at number 13. Now, 13 is already factored for me, so this is like the best problem ever. So it says, what is a quotient? Just means we're going to simplify to find our answer when we divide, represented by here. So x plus 4, no x plus 4 is x minus 3, but x plus 2 is matched. So we're left with x plus 4 over x minus 3. Nothing else simplifies. So my answer is B. We really like that problem. Okay, 14. It says Coach Brown used factoring to simplify this expression. Her work and answer are shown, so on and so forth. It says, is her answer correct or not? Well, first off, I see her final answer is 1. And I see here that she canceled. But remember, plus and minus make things stuck like glue. And when they're stuck like glue, they have to match exactly. So does x plus 5 match exactly with x minus 5? The answer is no. So you cannot simplify. This is your final answer. So no, she was not correct. It says she factored the numerator incorrectly. Well, I'm assuming she factored it correctly. We could always check it in our calculator. No, she incorrectly simplified, and her last step is the answer. Okay, let's look at 15. 15 says find the width of a rectangle that has an area of this and a length of this. Well, remember, when we're given area and one side, we can divide to solve. So I just moved it down. So knowing that x minus 1 cannot simplify, but it's stuck like glue because of the minus. So we have to factor the top. Well, a is 1, b is 3, c is negative 4. Therefore, my GCF is 1. So I'm good to go. So a is 1, b is 3, c is negative 4. So a times c. B in my third column is 3. So it multiplies to give me negative 4. And adds to give me, whoa. Okay, so I'm looking for what adds to give me positive 3, which is right here. So it's 4 and negative 1. And those multiply to give me negative 4. So build my box. And we have first term, first box, last term, last box, and then my special numbers. So GCF is x. We can use the calculator. Minus, because that's minus, 1 goes into 4, so it's 1. GCF is just x, because x times x is x squared. Positive, positive, 4 goes into 4. We can always check our work too with multiplying. X times x is x squared. X times negative 1 is negative 1x. X times 4 is 4x. 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. So we're good. So my top is now equal. I'm going to come over here to x minus 1, x plus 4. This is me rewriting this over my bottom, which is x minus 1. These cancel, so x plus 4 is my answer. Okay, so let's look at number 16. 16, hopefully we talked about in class. It says, just a reminder first off, is it says it's exponential. So we have y equals a times b to the x power, which is how it's set up. I want you to remember that A is your starting point. And B, in this situation with a percent, is going to be 1 plus or minus your percent as a decimal. Okay, well, it's telling me, so a company currently has 880 employees. So we're starting with 880 employees. The number of employees is expected to grow, so plus, I'm going to have 1 plus a rate of 7%. Well, to turn my percent into decimal, I'm going to divide by 100. So 7 divide 100, and I get 0.07. So 1 plus 0.07, which if I add 1 plus 0.07 is 1.07. So there's my answer. Okay, almost done. Flip to the back. Okay, 17, these are keywords too. These are also spiraling stuff in. Okay, so which equation is perpendicular? Perpendicular, I want you to remember, is double flip. Slope. So remember opposite sign, so positive versus negative, and flip fraction. Okay, so knowing that, let's try. Well, first off, I don't know my slope because it's not solved for y. So I'm going to solve for y. We move our x, so positive x, the opposite is negative 5, so minus 5x, and we divide by y. Well, my y is negative 8, so divide, 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 negative 8, negative 8, negative 8. I'm kind of squeezing it in. And I get y equals, so let's divide, 32 divide negative 8 gives me negative 4. 2 negatives makes a positive. 5 over 8 doesn't simplify, so 5 over 8x. So my slope is this. So if I do double flip, flip the sign, so instead of positive, it's going to be negative. We're going to flip the fraction, so it's going to be 8 over 5. So this is my new slope. Well, this is positive. It's upside down, so my answer is D. Okay, let's look at 18. 18 says which equation is parallel, means same slope. And they also have to have different y-intercepts, because if they have the same y-intercept, same slope, it's the same line and it's not parallel, because parallel never touches. So I want you to realize my answer choices are different than yours. Hopefully you talked about that in class. Not a big deal. So we're looking at my answer choices, not yours. So knowing that, again, I have to solve for y to find my slope. So move my x minus 3x, minus 3x. Now, I can't have a negative y, so I could put a 1, and I'm going to divide everything by negative 1. So I get y equals, that gives me negative 11. 2 negatives makes a positive 3x. So I need a positive 3x, but not a negative 11. Well, these are both negative 3x, so that's wrong. But this has a negative 11, so that's the same line. So my answer is A. You can also type them in. Parallel means they never touch. I'm going to regret taking this out maybe. And we have, so my answer was y equals negative 11 plus 3x. And then if I check my answer choice, I have y equals 3x plus 11. See how they never touch and they have the same slope. Now, if I checked the minus 11, it's, not double minus. See how they're right on top of each other? Well, those touch, so that's not my answer. That's why B is wrong. Okay, almost done. Let's look at number 19. It says the graph of a quadratic function h of x is shown on the grid. Which statement appears to be true? Well, it says the function has 1, 0. Zeros are x-intercepts. So if I cross the x-axis, I want you to see it touches twice. So that's not it. Okay, it has 2 zeros. Okay, the minimum of the function is 4. Well, that means the lowest point is a height of 4, but that's actually my highest point. So this would be a maximum. Okay, it says the vertex is 4, 3. Well, your vertex is your minimum or maximum. So here it's a maximum. This is my vertex. So my vertex is actually 3, 4. so that's not my answer. And then it says the equation for the axis of symmetry, that's what cuts it in half, which is right here at 3, is x equals 3, which is true. So D is my answer. Okay, look at number 20. It says factor completely. Well, again, we have to check for a GCF first. GCF, parentheses, 6, 39, 21. So I get 3. I have a GCF of 3, so I'm not done. I have to take the GCF out before I find my A, B, and C. Divide, divide, divide. That leaves me with 2x squared plus 13x minus 7. So again, I'm going to bring my 3 down because it's part of my answer, and I'm going to cross off my original trinomial. I'm only looking at the new one. So find A. I'm going to go a little fast on these because I need to get to my class. So A is 2, B is 13, C is negative 7. A times C is negative 14, B is 13. And I'm looking for what adds to give me 13, but multiplies to give me negative 14. So I'm going to do my A times C, which is negative 14, divide X. So kind of a refresher table. And then I have to add my 2 columns. So X plus negative 14 divide X. And I'm looking for positive 13, which is actually right here. So I have negative 1, positive 14. New first term, first box. New first term, last box, or last box, last term, sorry. Remember, these should add to 13x. And I get negative 1x, positive 14x. So my GCF is, these both have an x, these don't, but this is positive. Both have an x, these don't, but this is negative. So 1 does not, 1 goes into 2, 14 and 7, 7 goes into 14, 2 goes into 14, 1 goes into 7. So there's my, it doesn't always work that easy. Use your GCF if you need to. So x plus 7, 2x minus 1. Okay, now 21, there's different ways to do it, but first way every single time is to check for a GCF. So I'm going to check for a GCF, which is 4, 64. So I do have a GCF of 4. So I'm going to take that GCF out. Remember, the GCF is part of my answer, so don't forget it. And we're going to divide. So we get x squared minus 64 divided by 4 gives me 16. And ignore my old one. Well, again, I don't have a b, and that's fine. More than one way to do this one. So x squared is 1, b is 0, c is negative 16. First term, first box, last term, last box, and we have to figure out our table. Sorry, out of order. A times c is negative 16, b is 0. So I need to find my 0. Oh, there it is. So I have 4 and negative 4. So those add to 0, but multiply to negative 16. So x times x is x squared. They both have an x, they both have an x, minus, plus. 4 goes into 16, 4 goes into 16. So I get x minus 4, x plus 4. Okay, last but not least, we have 22. So it says the expression. Now I want you to realize this should be an a. Sorry, y'all. Okay, so we have 20a squared plus 11a minus 4. So start with finding the GCF. 20, 11, 4 is 1. So I'm good to go. Find my a, b, c. So 20, 11, negative 4. A times c, b. We're looking for what plus what adds to 11, but multiplies 20, 40, 60, 80 to negative 8. So I'm going to change this to negative 80. And we're looking for positive 11, which I see negative 11. So let's try the opposite of positive 5, which worked. So I have negative 5, positive 16. First term, first box. Last term, last box. Don't forget your letter. Minus 5 plus 16. And GCF. Now this is one that you definitely want to use the GCF feature for because it's not just your simple order numbers. So 20 comma 5 is 5. Oh, don't forget these both have an A. These both have an A, positive, negative. So these both were 5. 16 comma 4 is 4. Now 20 and 16, oop, I already have 16 typed in there, is 4. And then 5 and 4 is 1. So my answer is 5a plus 4, 4a minus 1. So once you realize these match, so that's good. 4a minus 1. Okay, good luck on your test tomorrow. And ask your teachers if you have any questions.